Looking for ways to refresh your home and make the most of your weekend? Here are 5 practical and fun home projects that you can tackle over the weekend to spruce up your home. Number 1, install landscape lighting. Landscape lighting is often an overlooked aspect of design, but it plays a crucial role in enhancing the beauty and functionality of your outdoor space. Trust me, outdoor lighting makes such a big difference and a lasting impression. From a practical standpoint, landscape lighting will instantly improve curb appeal and add value to your home. But landscape lighting can also create a vibe, an ambiance, whether you are lighting up a cozy outdoor lounge space or a sprawling garden. Installing landscape lighting is a surprisingly easy DIY project that you can complete over the weekend. I could shoot an entire video on this project and idea alone, but I'm going to give you a quick rundown overview right now. First, you'll need to decide the main function of your landscape lighting. Are you highlighting architectural or natural features? In our front yard, our landscape lighting illuminates the exterior of our home. In the backyard, we also installed spotlights on a handful of our mature oak trees. Is your goal to extend usability and enjoyment of your outdoor space? We installed landscape lighting around our pool for night swims. Are you installing landscape lighting to enhance safety and security? We install landscape lighting along the pathway and entrance to our house to ensure our guests can navigate the entrance to our house safely. Once you determine how you plan to use your landscape lighting in your outdoor space, you will need to map out where your lights are going to go. Wire isn't exactly cheap, so you don't want to have the measurements too far off. Next, you'll need to install a transformer. Each transformer will hold a certain amount of voltage. A small transformer is sufficient for most homes. We installed a $80 transformer that we got on Amazon. Ours has 2 ports, one port for the front yard and one port for the back. A transformer can be installed in about an hour. Once the transformer is installed and mounted, you'll need to lay the wire based on the map that you created in step number 1. And next, and the final step, is to just hook up your lights. Most landscape lights have an easy snap process, or it's a fairly easy wire with some outdoor wire nuts. Next thing you can do in a weekend is paint a room, maybe even try out color drenching. Paint is cheap, but painting jobs are so expensive mostly because of the labor involved with the prep work and the touch-ups. Painting a room is my favorite way to transform a space on a budget. I generally go for eggshell finish on interior walls and semi-gloss or even high gloss on cabinetry and trim. If you're feeling adventurous, maybe even check out the new trend taking the design world by storm called color drenching. Wallpaper has been trending for some time now, but if you haven't been able to pull the trigger or bear the expense of wallpaper and install, this is a fun and totally DIY friendly project to create a wow moment. This technique involves painting an entire room, including ceilings, cabinetry, trim, doors, flooring, and even outlet covers with a single bold color to create an immersive experience. Notice how the color drenched space has this seamless flow of color that envelops the room to create this visually striking space. Color drenching is not limited to walls and ceilings. You can extend this technique to other surfaces like floors or even kitchen cabinets. Notice here they even pulled in the green to the area rug. And you don't have to use bold colors. You can just as easily create a mood with softer color palettes by eliminating pops of color and high contrast. You get a sense of continuity for the eye to travel freely. Color drenching also tends to make spaces feel larger and more grand without those interruptions. Consider other elements in your space. People are often surprised to hear that paint color is usually one of the very last selections in the design process. We typically make paint selections after all the furniture, textiles, and art have been selected so that we can evaluate how color will bounce around the room in between rooms. The possibilities are endless, and the results are sure to be eye-catching. Think about artwork, flooring, furniture in your space as you consider your color choice. Embrace the power of color and let your imagination run wild. You want to be able to shop your home. This is a fun one and completely free. One of my wife's longtime favorite things to do is to shop our home or room when she was little and rearrange furniture to bring new energy in a space. She just moved our rarely used ping pong table to our backyard to double as a dining table, and we are loving it. It is no longer a collection point for miscellaneous junk in the garage. Every evening we have a little family ping pong tournament before transitioning to dining al fresco. I'm all about reconfiguring layouts to cultivate experiences. Shopping our own home is the most satisfying and inexpensive way to learn more about how to use your space, how you want to use your space to create the most intentional and meaningful home. Swapping out seasonal decor items like pillows and throw blankets is one thing. Now treat yourself and move that cozy chair into your bedroom to create the perfect reading nook while you sip your coffee in the morning. Let this be a reminder to invest in versatile pieces that you can love in your home. If you stay true to your design style, buy pieces you truly love, there will be a place for them in any room at any given time. Here are some ideas to shop your home. Toss a decorative pillow across the back of your sofa long ways to add another textural element or splash of color. Dare you to try it, almost feels like getting an entirely new couch. Use interesting kitchen vessels or mason jars as vases. Fill them with greenery from your yard and scatter around your house. Hang your cutting board collection on a small wall for a textural display. Swap nightstands in one room for nightstands in another room. Style your coffee table with a couple of your favorite games instead of coffee table books to prompt more play. Put up that art you've been meaning to hang for months. Some of my most prized art pieces were created by my kids, and I love regularly rotating them out to display their latest creations. I highly recommend simple hooks for easy mounting, no hammer and nail required, and minimal damage to your wall. How about carving out a little new office nook? Okay, so we have an unusual problem in our house of more storage space than we actually need, and I wish I could move that storage square footage somewhere else. I realize this is not often the case, so your challenge is to repurpose any space in your house to make it more functional, whether it's creating a cozy reading nook under the stairs, carving out a workspace in large closet, or converting a storage closet to a small computer workstation. Here are a couple more ideas, including this cozy nook that Light and Dwell created from storage under the stairs. Of course, this is probably more than a weekend project, just getting the ideas rolling. Here's another one from the archives. In our previous home, we actually carved this office nook out of the utility room. And finally, here's an extra storage closet turned computer nook for our kids. You can complete this project in just a couple hours. To complete this project, you'll just need a track saw or circular saw with the DIY track to keep your cut straight, a countertop, ours is from IKEA, 4 brackets, some good screws, a drill, level, and stud finder. First, what we did was we removed the door. This is not a necessary step. In fact, you may want to be able to tuck away the workstation and close the door at times. However, it's just a lot easier to make that extra space for yourself when you're installing the counter. Next, you want to measure the opening to determine the proper depth and width that you will need to cut your countertop. The best tool to use is a track saw. If you don't have a track saw, you can also use a circular saw with the DIY track using a straight edge board and 2 wood clamps. The circular saw has a flat side that you will put flush against the flat side of the board so you can easily guide your saw with straight cuts. Once your counter is cut to size, you will need to install the brackets. You will need 4 brackets or so, 2 at the back of the wall closet and then 1 on each side. Use your stud finder to ensure your brackets are mounted on studs because you never know when one of your kids is going to climb onto that counter. Final step, place that counter on the brackets and enjoy your new workstation. Next, you can replace or hang a window treatment. Window treatments are the unsung heroes of interior design. They have the ability to completely change the ambiance and the character of a space, while of course performing practical functions like privacy and control of natural light. As I tour homes with clients in Austin, I'm baffled by how many people do not know how to properly hang window treatments and how many people go without window treatments entirely. I do think there are some exceptions and certain spaces just do not call for window treatments, but for the most part, window treatments are the finishing touch of any space. One of my favorite ways to use window treatments is to alter the perception of space. Hanging curtains or drapes above and outside the window frame can make the room appear larger, high and wide, so they say. Floor length treatments can also add height and grandeur to your room with low ceilings. It's all about execution. So let's get into how to hang your curtains like a designer. There are 3 main mistakes people tend to make when hanging curtains. 1, rod is hung too low. 2, curtains are the incorrect length. And 3, rod not hung wide enough, flanking the window. If you opt for curtains and you are not going custom, the height that you mount your rod will be based on the length of your curtain. Curtains typically come in a handful of standard lengths: 63, 84, 96, 108, and 120. Drapery that just kisses the floor or even 1/2 inch above the floor gives the most clean, modern look. If you're going for a more romantic look in the bedroom or formal living room, you may want your drapery to puddle 4 to 6 inches past floor level. The biggest mistake people make is choosing the incorrect panel length so that their curtains float more than 1 inch and often significantly more than 1 inch above the floor. I can't help but think of that time you probably also tossed your pants in the dryer on accident and now they're floods. Too short curtains and pants cheapen the entire vibe in a very jarring way. In order to determine proper curtain length, first you'll need to measure the top of the window to the floor. Your curtain rod should not be hung just a hair above the window frame. People tend to hang their rods too low, probably so their curtains don't float as high above the ground, a well-intentioned strategy to avoid the flood look at least. Hanging your rods high draws the eye up, which creates the illusion of higher ceilings. There is not necessarily a magic number or height to hang your rods, but I would generally recommend mounting the rod about 1/2 up to 2/3 the distance toward the ceiling. Mounting curtain rods wider than the window also creates illusion of a larger window opening, and allows for as much light as possible to enter. To determine the proper mounting width, you will first need to measure the width of the opening to determine how many panels you will need. Curtain panel width can vary, but they're often about 50 inches, so you may need 2 or 4 panels depending on the width of the opening. Take into consideration how many panels you will require on each side of the window when mounting the curtain rod. I recommend mounting certain brackets at least 6 inches from the outside edges of the window frame to allow plenty of natural light, but I often opt for 10 inches or even 12 beyond the window frame myself. In our home, we have these amazing 12-foot ceilings in our dining room, pictured here. When installing window treatments in our dining room, I wanted to draw attention to the grandness of the space, so we mounted our rod about 10 feet and 2 feet below the ceiling. We also mounted the rod brackets about 11 inches outside the window opening on either side. Due to the scale of the window, we went with custom French return rods from Mason Lane and my favorite budget-friendly Amazon curtains that look and feel like Pottery Barn or Restoration Hardware quality. Don't sleep on these curtains. I recommend them all the time for my clients and they never disappoint. That's it for today's video. What project are you going to tackle this weekend? Let me know in the comments. Hit that like button if you got inspired to start a DIY project.